So you just want me to ask you a couple of questions?
Baby, honestly, you can do whatever you want.
So you have nothing planned.
I have nothing planned. I mean,
Okay.
honestly, I can spend this entire time asking you a tremendous amount of questions and just listen to your answers. Or I can sit here. Don't do that?
Let's don't do that.
Okay. Well, then you can ask me questions. You can ask me just one question.
I have a couple of ideas since I just wanted everybody to know that, this was not planned. That, that I just think it's important for people to know. I have a couple of things specifically on what works for us, but I kind of wanted to start off with you telling me, what is it that you do day to day? How do you help people? And when people come up to me and they ask, "What's your husband do?" I say, "Well, he's a life coach." One of the things that they don't understand that term. So, what would be the most helpful thing for me to explain that? What do you do exactly? Because I think it would be helpful if somebody didn't know you, and I am the wife, and so, what would help me explain that, and what would be helpful for you?
Wow. I like greatness facilitator. I know that sounds crazy, but I really do love that there's a greatness inside each of us and we can open to it. In fact, we can always get better expressing our greatness. I like the idea that it needs our attention. And so I'd like to believe that I'm someone who facilitates conversations that help people focus on their greatness, on improving themselves personally, professionally, and on any areas that they choose to focus on. My strength is that I love people to develop themselves as people. I love playing around in potentials and possibilities. I'm a fan of neuroplasticity, neurological expansion. I love helping people find newer levels of themselves that are untapped, instead of just tapping what we know, what's familiar, the current version of themselves. I love to help people tap a new emerging self that otherwise would go untapped. Like, what would be there if you took that next step, if you went to that next level? Most of us have no idea unless we take that step, and then we don't even know what step would be available after that until we take that step. And so I like to believe that what I do is facilitate people on that adventure. I like to take them on a little adventure of their own possibilities of where they're going to end up through this kind of process, through the process of having conversations and exploring the depth of their greatness.
Okay. Can you tell me, who do you see? What's the typical person that you see? And then, what would be the hottest topic for you to work with somebody?
Honestly,
not one person specifically, of course, but just what do you see the most?
Well, honestly, I hold myself to a certain standard, and really the hot topic for me really is neuroplasticity. And they don't know that. They may have their own hot topic. Maybe they're trying to develop, some relationship skills, for instance.
Yeah, that's what I wanted.
Oh, that's huge.
That's what I wanted. Yeah, I know, but what does the normal person come to you for?
To become more successful in something, whether it's in their relationship or making money, business, entrepreneur. There are as you know, I have families. I have very, very wealthy professionals. I think it is about facilitating that conversation and helping them become better, become more successful at whatever it is that drives them. Unfortunately, even as a chiropractor, most people come when there's a problem. And that's the same thing. Even couples come when there's like a problem, hey, Houston, we're not in paradise anymore. We have a problem here. And so the idea again is just to facilitate the conversation where each individual becomes more empowered rather than victimized. You don't have a condition, it's not that you're married to an idiot, it's nothing like that. It's like, these are all the words that I use is calls for you to answer to really support your own development. And your own development is neuroplasticity. It's like helping you answer calls so that you can be the solution in your life in any area. I don't like making people victims, even if they have horrible partners that aren't really cooperative or supportive or sharing an objective, that they just do what they're going to do, he or she, and that there is no cooperation to help. And it's like, how can I help you live with that? How can I help you really be successful in that? Or how can I help you walk away from that? Are there children involved? I mean, when you say, for better or for worse, well, sometimes worse is something you would never imagine. This is what it looks like. When you say for better or for worse, this is real. This is what it looks like to go through what you're going through. And so You have calls to answer, and it's not necessarily to fix your partner. It's to help
So
you
it's
meet.
personal growth.
Oh, definitely.
Heavy personal growth.
Well, it is, but you know what? Even companies, and I'm really proud of that. For a company to grow, the people that make up that company have to grow. And I think we take the words personal growth and we kind of diminish it, or we almost ridicule it or criticize it as if like, it's not valid, as if it's personal growth. But the truth is, personal growth is so necessary. It's necessary for healing. That's how I got involved in this. For healing to occur, we're at the mercy of the brain. Well, your brain state, and you and who you've become manifested the condition that you're looking to heal or the state of your relationship. So for healing to occur, you have to be flexible. It's called plasticity. You have to have some form of flexibility. You have to have some resource that can help you become a different version of yourself that would manifest a different result than the one that you're complaining about, whether it's your health or your marriage or your finances. And so to me, neuroplasticity is the platform. So that's the hottest topic, but that's me bringing it back to I want results. I want to be successful. So if I'm going to be successful, I have to work with an individual and hold myself accountable that I'm getting results, that I am a catalyst for them, a catalyst for change, that they're growing. If I'm doing it, great. I can tell. They're coming in, they're fresh, they're new, they're speaking this crazy language of mine, but they're incorporating it. It's a new language for them. And if they're incorporating it, they're creating new pathways in the brain.
Okay. So if I was, looking for a life coach, why would I come to you?
Because I'm your husband.
But pretend that you're not my husband right now. I want to know what makes you different from other life coaches that you've seen. And it's not to be mean.
No, it's not mean.
I just want to know.
Honey, we're all different. Everybody offers something different. Okay. Everybody has different strengths, and I'm sure I have a plethora of weaknesses.
I want to know your strengths.
My strength is that I truly am. I make fun of myself. I'm a self-appointed thought leader. I really do. I spend my life doing this, and I don't read books to learn what works. I'm very practical. I'm very, real. There's a level of honesty. These conversations that I facilitate have to be real. I don't get information from a library book or somebody downloaded me some information. I want to have real, honest to goodness conversations that are truly engaging, and I'm not looking to apply a certain discipline or an approach.
And you don't give answers that were like...
As a life coach, and really even the term life coach, I really only use that term because it helps people understand what I do. But
and
it's
they
not
still
even,
don't understand.
I still don't even understand. I facilitate conversations. I like to believe that I am a greatness facilitator. I like that. I really, honey, there really is a greatness inside each of us. It truly is. And the more you work on it, the more then there's a greaterness. There's a step after that. And the more that you don't work on it, the more you can't get to greater and greater levels of greaterness until you embrace the level that you can embrace in this step. And so, as you know, I'm most excited about successions. It means successive. And it's okay that you have to repeat a practice like talking to me. It's like as if, when are we done? When's our end date? As if this is a therapy. And it's not a therapy. It's like, it's a life. Just like there's no end date to feeding a baby. Once you feed him once, it's like crack. Now he's addicted to eating or sleeping or going to the bathroom. Things that are healthy for you. And I love the whole concept of making continuous improvements. I love the exploration. I love that you can go into this in a sense of curiosity, of even yourself, of not knowing who you are and what's going to come from continuous conversations with me. But it's always going to be better than just the status quo. To me, the status quo is boring. It is. It's just, we've already did it. We've been there. I've been me yesterday. I don't want to be me tomorrow who I was yesterday. And why would you want to? We talk about, why would you want to go visit other countries and explore? Oh my God, I love going visiting. It's like,
and they all be like you.
Do you have any idea how much untapped places you haven't gone within yourself while you're traveling all over the world to explore? And the greatest exploration, what you may be sacrificing each and every day, the most wondrous exploration is your greaterness. Truly, we all know we have greatness inside of us. It doesn't just come out automatically. A lot of it does. We wake up, that's a miracle, that's great. But we're in our own little recursions, we're in our own little patterns, we're habit creatures. We do what we do, and it sacrifices our greater levels of our functionality, of our potential. We just get comfortable in our ways, well-worn ways. And I'm the catalyst. I love that. I mean, it excites me to have real conversations like this, to answer a real question with real answers. I mean, I think that's the difference is I bring a vitality. We can let something new come in. So having said all that, is there anything that just naturally comes up for you in response? So I'm not just blabbering here?
No, I like what you said.
Cool.
And I think it's important to also know that that you created, and I'm not going to get these words right because remember I'm the wife.
And I want you to be the wife.
Exactly, I'm going to be really real here.
I really want you to be the wife.
Is that one of the things that I'm really proud of you is that you when I first met you, you had created this whole life work, and it wasn't from anyone. It was from one of the biggest things that stands out when somebody says it's a life coach. There's so many programs out there now teaching a life coach, but I think one of the biggest selling points for me is the fact that you had these life experiences, because it's just like if you were going to go and get a job. To me, it's almost more important. I want to know what you did in the past. That's more important. I want to know your work ethic. I don't want to know that you have like a 4.0. That's great. That tells me a little bit. But I want to know how hard are you going to work? I mean, how did you learn this? I want to know that for me, and that's my experience. You've also written a book, and you're very humble about that. So I wanted to talk about those things. So if somebody, is listening to this, then they're able to know that you've done these things, and this is where you got your work. You didn't learn it from someone. You actually had life, concrete experiences that you lived through and you worked through, and you put that into your own mind processes or thoughts to help people get through different things in their life. And I'm going to totally change the subject now, but I wanted to also talk about how, now do you want to comment on that?
Wow.
Because I have another.
I like being interviewed by my wife because I love all the things you have to say. They're all very glowing. It's always, I think any man would be really, very thrilled to hear his wife speak so glowingly. So thank you. Just thank you. Just thank you.
It's the truth.
Thank you.
So, okay, so one of the other hot topics, because I think it will be helpful for couples to know this, and I know that you see a lot of couples. Well, is because we have strangers stop us, and it's a fact, and they see our energy, and they're like, oh my gosh, how long have you been married? Or are you married? Or your boyfriend and girlfriend, because they love our energy. And they see how much we love each other and we appreciate each other, and they don't know us, and that's all that they see. Mm-hmm. And I know that our friends say the same thing, like, gosh, you have a great relationship, and they come to me, my friends, and ask me, how do you deal with this at home? So a lot of people even come to me, and I, am very open and just, I'm very positive, and I want, like if a woman was to come to me and she may be having an issue with her husband, I kind of base it off what we go through. And so with that said, I want to know, this is really a cool question, because I want to know what the hardest thing for as a man, because men and women are so different. And I know one of our dynamics is, because we laugh about me being blonde. And I am a true blonde. So I do have issues on things that I can't follow. And so we have an issue there, because I'm thinking about something totally different, and you're thinking about something totally different. And I don't even know what you're thinking.
I don't know your world. I have no idea. I'm not invited in your world.
I can talk for you. I can say, well, I think you might be thinking this, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. So I know that we have that dynamic. What is the hardest thing as a man to deal with as a wife? Like, what do you constantly have to work on to be patient with me?
I think just to get outside myself. I think that really is it, is to realize that my reality is not the only reality, and that you have a reality, and it may not match my reality, and we are allowed to think differently and see differently. And I think to really allow for that, and to recognize that, and to validate your experience while validating my own, without, invalidating your experience and validating mine. That's really important, and to recognize that your world is your world, and you are exceptional, and you're worth the extra mile of me just letting things go when I can. I mean, there are times where it takes a while for me to let something go. I've got to go through a process of really getting tripped up being myself and maintaining my position about something, or like my correctness or my accuracy of something. And it's just
when I'm totally right.
of course.
Yeah.
And you are. You really, really are. You are. But I'm forcing my rightness onto your rightness, as if like my rightness trumps your rightness, or as if your rightness is a threat to my rightness. And it's really not. And it's learning to coexist with different rightnesses and to recognize that that's true, is that what's true for you, you might say something about me that I'm not seeing for myself. It's a blind spot. And it may not be very, very attractive. It may not be something that's really, so I may not want to see it. And truly, I don't even want you seeing it. If it's not attractive, I'd be like, can't you write a better story than that? I mean, is that the best you got? But you're seeing it. And, I recognize that. And it's like a little uncomfortable, but you're seeing it. And it may not be my intention or something like that. And vice versa. It goes both ways. I mean,
Exactly.
I throw that on you as well. I mean,
Yeah. What I try to do is, okay, how do and it's that, like, maybe how do you think like a man or think like a woman?
you know how men think, and you got that part down.
I got a big piece on how men think, but that's a totally different subject that we're not going to cover on this particular segment. We can do that one later. But there's things that I just miss. And
But the things that you miss, or the things that frustrate me, if you miss something, I have to remind myself that you're not supposed to be my audience for certain things. I got to remind myself that I just want you to be my wife. I don't really need you to be my sounding board. I've got so many people that study my work. You don't have to be one of them. I've got people that understand syllables that I say. You don't have to understand some of the syllables that I say, or the words that I choose, or the understanding of thrivopeutics or guardianology. I love creating concepts. I do. I love creating containers that have a life of their own. Like children, they grow and they become who they are. And I think a lot of relationships fall apart because one or two people in a relationship put an undue stress in the relationship in wanting their partner to organically be who they're not. Like I want my partner to listen to me the way my girlfriend does. It's like, no, wait a minute. If you got your girlfriend and she listens to you that way, you've got an outlet. Call her when you want. Let your husband be your husband. He doesn't have to be your girlfriend too. And when we put all these undue stresses on our partners and we want them to be a certain way, can't we just love them who they are and accept the gifts that they bring and don't worry about what's absent? And you can get what's absent in other places, and it's out there.
or what about? I mean, I don't know if this is a broad term. Remember why you fell in love with them? Maybe.
I do that all the time. Okay. Absolutely, it's still there, and it's still in there, and that person is still there.
Because as
absolutely.
the years go by, would you think that some people forget those reasons?
I think what happens as the years go by is we really become victims of our well-worn patterns.
Taking each other for granted.
That too, but even yourself, even taking your own personal growth for granted. And then all of a sudden we look back and we think that they've changed, when we realize that our brain is just really crying for something new and fresh. And then we look at our husband and go, or our wife, and just go, well, they're the same person as yesterday. No changes are going to happen there. It's like, believe in yourself. Believe in your ability to create a change in your relationship. Believe in your ability to affect a positive change in your relationship, or communicate where you're not putting the pressure on your spouse to give you a better marriage.
Yeah, or do some, like, one of the things is do something different. Like, I know that we have kind of trying to do this, and it works wonders. I mean, it's just changing things up. And I know that we get in our schedules Monday through Friday, and I am really guilty of this. You're so much better, oh my God, than I am. But I get tired. After 10 hours, I'm tired. So that's Monday through Friday. So if we could, if I can change it up, because I have to speak because I'm the guilty one of this. If I can change up something like, hey, instead of going on a date night every Friday, hey, let's go get dinner on Tuesday. Oh my God, there's, that's different, and it changes it up, and it's like, you can get through the week and not waiting for the weekend, working Monday through Friday and then coming to the weekend and then putting it all on the weekend, but enjoying each other. And then that kind of goes into, live each day and maybe do something special for that other person that day. And again, not waiting for the weekend, but doing something special maybe for that person that day, whether it be the simplest of things, a text or a phone call, or I got your, I ironed your shirt, or I did your laundry, or I got you this organic seaweed at the grocery store. Just little things like that. I think that are, anything you can do differently to change up the routine is.
Well, I love it. I notice when you're stressed out, like when it's taking forever for a Friday to arrive. I know, I feel it. I can feel it on a Wednesday. And I like to surprise you. I love when you come home, I'll treat Thursday like a Friday. I've always loved Thursdays. And it'll be like, come on, let's go out to eat. And, where are we going? Where would you like to go on Friday? Let's take you to the Mexican place up the block. And I love doing that for you. I really do. And I really enjoy it. I like to be that, change agent. I like to be a catalyst, if you will. I like to just make it a little easier, if you will, to get through the week. You're welcome. You're welcome for that.
So I think that would be really helpful for couples too. And then I want to ask this, it's kind of funny. So when you have to get out of yourself.
Which I have to do all the time.
Okay, well, you answered my question before I asked it.
But I have to.
How often do you have to do that day by day?
Oh my gosh, honey.
But now remember, you don't see me 10 hours.
But think about the clients. I have the same clients that I've had from 1993, and people think that's almost criminal. But, I have to have something to offer people. I can't be the same person, and I have to constantly stay on my own cutting edge and stay innovative and creative.
No, but you can do that with, but I'm talking about for couples, like for us.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, a couple that comes to me, there is always going to be newness because they're having a conversation. There's a quote that I write. I write quotes. Well, one of my favorite quotes, and it's really true, is that the deliverer of greater possibilities stands outside yourself. And it's true. You're not going to get the greatest possibility being inside yourself or letting yourself run the show. You're going to stay within your recursion. It's going to be comfortable. It's going to be very, very comfortable. You're going to be in charge. You're going to be a controlaholic, and it's going to be very comfortable, but for the same person, the same individual, the same brain state. You're going to be sacrificing your developmental needs, the calls you can answer, neuroplasticity. When you're interacting with me, I'm going to ask questions that you wouldn't be asking of yourself. And you're going to have to answer questions that you wouldn't be answering in the moment. And that's really important. And the brain is like hungry for that. The brain wants newness. It wants stimulus. It wants change. It doesn't want the status quo or average to live the same thing tomorrow that we did today. It's boring. So the brain just falls to sleep. And I honestly think that as we get older, I think that's probably the biggest cause of all these challenges you see with senile or Alzheimer's or dementia. I think that we really have to challenge our brain to continually grow, especially as we get older. See, I am so excited that we're doing this just because you ask questions that you would not normally ask of me. I think this is healthy for a marriage. I think that all couples should interview each other.
Exactly. And these are things that I would wonder. Like, how exhausting is it to be with me sometimes? And then how exhausting is it to be with you sometimes?
Let me answer that.
Okay.
Because if it's really exhausting for me to be with you, if it really exhausts me to be with you, do I have any work? Do I want to allow you to exhaust me? I mean, think about it. I love you. You are an exceptional woman. And yes, you have times where you are incredibly exhausting. There are just times when that happens. Now, do I want to be a victim of that? Or do I want to learn how to thrive when you're in a place in you that makes me exhausted? Now, I can work on changing you, or I can learn how to go with it. It's like going with it.
Or why not just because we spend a ton of time together, which we love spending time together. And I know it's important to have your own time. So when those exhausting moments, would you recommend that a client with his wife or partner, this is one of those times I need to go get in my cave, a man cave or a woman cave, whichever.
That's fine, but again, I'm always looking at plasticity. So let me finish this. I'm going to get this. At that point, that's true for that individual in that brain state. For this person, if he was never going to change, then that's a great strategy. If I found that I'm working with somebody, they show no signs of plasticity, that they're really not interested in being an advocate for their greater self, they want to be an advocate for their current self, that they have like these deep, deep expressive needs. And if they're really showing no signs of growth, then learn that practice, go in the cave, take care of that current brain, learn how to serve who you are in that brain state. But I'm more interested in helping them get out of that brain state, not I'm looking for plasticity. I'm looking for them to do something that's going to expand them, not keep them in the same container. I'm looking for something that's going to help them get out of the state, that's going to force them to have to go in the cave. I want them to learn a new way of being with you, or a new way of seeing.
Right, but I get that. But sometimes it's really healthy to have your own time, and I know you know that.
No, absolutely.
But see, this is one of those times where I don't really necessarily understand what you're saying.
Right. I understand.
So I don't know if your audience is gonna understand that as well.
Some will, some won't.
Exactly. So, I get what you're saying about wanting to change, but if you need just some time on your own, which we know we both need,
Right.
And it's really not that much. For me, it's really not that much that I need by myself. But I want to be able to take those times without thinking to myself, oh, well, I need to change. I should be able
Let me answer
to
that.
go and have my own time.
What about like needing sleep? I mean, let's face it. There are times when there is an expressive need that's really shouldn't be negotiable. You might learn how to go without sleep, but I would recommend that at some point in time, it's pretty good that you honor the fact, like I got to go to the bathroom. You just go to the bathroom. You go. There are certain times. I need some alone time. You need some alone time. You go. But I'm talking about when it's time to come back in the relationship, when you've already slept, you've already went to the bathroom, You've already been in the cave. Now who are you bringing? You bringing the same person to your relationship with your partner that you were, that needed to go to sleep, that needed to go to the bathroom, that needed to go to the cave? There has to be something new. It can't be like, okay, I've rested, now I've woken up. Let me live today the way I lived yesterday because I've rested. Now I'm ready to go another round, being the same person I was yesterday. It doesn't really excite me. As a matter of fact, I like when there are challenges because you develop your character during the most difficult times. You really...
That's a very graceful way to word it.
It's the truth. You don't get character development when things are going well, when everything is going exactly what you would want and everything is happening.
You learn from your mistakes.
That too. You learn from your mistakes, but you also learn how to handle mistakes and how to handle an adversarial situation with your spouse or with your coworker or with a prospective client or a boss. I mean, these are all skills that are not taught in school. I'm still learning them, but as I learn them, I share them, and I want to focus and have conversations with people so that we learn how to be advocates for our greater success. What does it even look like? These are great terms. What does it mean to be an advocate for your greater success? Well, guess what? If you're not thinking that way, you're not going to do it. But if you're talking with me, you're going to think that way, and it's going to be on the front burner, not the back burner, and things like that. There's value in that, honey.
There's a lot of value.
There's a lot of value in that.
Okay, so I've come to the end of my questions.
You have?
I have.
Okay.
If you want to, you can ask me a question or two, or we can end it.
Well, as much as I would love to let you get away scot-free, unfortunately, I really don't have anything. Oh my gosh.
Which is cool because this is not rehearsed.
We
are not actors. Or my husband is sometimes.
I did an interview with
I'm not.
Amala. I did an interview with Jewel. And I got to tell you, honestly, I think I'd like to acknowledge you. I really do. I mean, you really are a fantastic, phenomenal wife. You really are. People might see me out in the world and be like, oh, that poor woman, she has to put up with him. And they don't realize that, even though this doesn't stop, there are times when this actually knows when to stop, even though it doesn't appear that way because I'm always saying something in Facebook like I'm always going. But you're an exceptional human being. You really are. I mean, but it's true. You took me in, let's face it, I come with a lot of baggage, especially having been married in the past and having a wife that passed away. And Lord knows, in those 9 years between Allison and you, it was quite the adventure. So, it was very, yeah, you can imagine. So I have a lot to compare to. And so it was real interesting. And life being what life is, it's so non-forgiving. And I honestly feel like you are a blessing to me. I know you really are. I mean, second chances are tremendous. And I'd like to believe that I'm a better husband now than I was. And I even share that a lot. I kind of feel bad that Allison didn't get the version of me that I am now. And if, she could have been around, who knows? I mean, there's no way of knowing. But life is what life is, and it's been real painful. And then for you to come in my life the way you have, you're a real blessing to me, sweetie. You really are. I mean, I still don't feel deserving on some level. You know, I'm still not over all my past wounds and things. And some people don't think of me in the highest light possible, as if I am such a horrible human being. And so it makes me question myself sometimes, even when I don't think I'm questioning myself. That stuff gets in, you know, and you kind of wonder, am I really a good person? Or so I think I'm kind of doing what I'm doing because of second chances and because I really have been, I don't know what the word is, but almost tormented by my past and the question marks about life and things, how they reveal themselves. And so you ask these really deep questions of yourself, like, are you a good person? And so I like to convince myself that I am, even though there's a strong possibility that I'm not a good person, you know.
You are a good person.
Well, thank you, baby. It's very kind. But, you know, but let's face it, life is really difficult and it's tough being a human being. I mean, there are so many components to being human. We know what social mores are, and it's so difficult to follow social mores all the time, you know. Go to this, do that, do this, do that. And usually the social mores are usually wrong. I'm sorry, but they usually are. I mean, you know, I've not really gotten a lot of benefit by following what the conveyor belt says is proper, you know, what life says is proper. I usually do better when I go to the school of hard knocks or common sense or even creativity. And so I appreciate that. But you accept me. I think that's the biggest thing, is that you give me room to grow. You give me room to breathe. You give me room to be Michael Someka. And then you let me be a man. I mean, I can't even tell you how important that is. I mean, you know.
I think that's one of the biggest pieces.
Yeah.
Kind of, if you want to relate, what we've been talking about is letting you be yourself and appreciating the things that you do, because I could never do them.
Right.
There's some that I could do, but a lot of them I could never do. So it's appreciating that person for who they are and what you can bring to the table and what I can bring to the table. And, you know, just appreciating that piece. And then that even adds the aspect of not being so boring. Let your partner, your spouse, be themselves, so it's not the same thing. I mean, what else can they bring to the table that's going to be interesting in your life, than, you know, day by day?
You bring a lot of interesting to my life day by day. I do. And I love that top, honey.
Thank you. You bought it for me.
I know.
My husband got it for me.
I actually had a fight for that, actually. That was one that you actually didn't like that.
I didn't think I looked good in silver.
I think you look amazing in that. Thank you.
I've
Got a lot of pushback when it came. I'm glad that you wore that.
So you proved me wrong, and
See?
I accepted it.
But it's got almost glittery. I know how much you love glitter. With the
love
lights
glitter.
and everything, it really...
Yes.
And your beautiful hair and the way it falls. I love, you know.
Well, I grew up in the 80s, so I'm a total product of the 80s. So
Yeah, she was born in the 70s. I was born in the 50s. It's a few years between us. Just a few.
But thank you. You're a wonderful partner and husband, and I love
Baby.
you and love this
Baby.
time that we have together, and want to make it interesting every day, and I don't want to get bored, and I appreciate you and love the things that you bring to the table. And do I get exhausted? Yes. Do I understand everything that you say? Absolutely not. So I just need your patience with me. They are blonde moments, and it's actually a true fact. So
here's a little
sorry,
hint.
I'm
Here's a
not
little
afraid
hint.
to admit it that I'm.
Men wouldn't want it any other way. To be honest with you, we want our women. I actually wrote a quote. Have you ever seen it? I think I sent it to you. My wife is a lovely shade of blonde.
Yes.
And it's true. My wife is a lovely shade of blonde. And I love it. It works for us men. So thank you, baby. I love you.
I love you.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you.
Would you come back and be my guest again?
I will.
Will you wear something different?
I'll wear something different,
Cool.
and maybe we can talk about some other things too.
Oh, I bet you'd like that.
Yes, I would.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you, baby.
I love you.
I love you. Now that's sweet. That's a good ending.